have no plans to issue a stay-at-home order, as you may have seen in other states. And part of the reason for that is we've actually been working collaboratively with our experts at UNMC, Dr. James Lawler, who's going to be on our Facebook Live. So if you want to get more information about this, tune into my Facebook Live 3:30. But the idea is we put together this plan weeks ago, and it never called for a stay-at-home order. What it calls for is what we've just been talking about. Reducing those size, those large public groups. And when we say large, at this point, we mean more than 10 people. And so we have done the most restrictive measures we are going to do in places like Omaha and Lincoln because we've hit those thresholds, those triggers of having the community cases that gives us an indication that the spread of the virus is starting to rise in those communities. Now, we're handling this on a regional basis across the state of Nebraska. So as we have more of that across the state, we will issue more directed health measures if necessary. But because we are taking these proactive steps, and it's really again about limiting those large public gatherings, and because our state, relative to some other states, is much earlier in this cycle when we're taking these steps, that's the steps that are going to be appropriate for our state. Now, New York State's very different. New York State probably had virus mid-January at some time, or maybe even earlier. And so they were not taking steps because they just didn't have an awareness of this, that this was coming to them, and so they maybe have to take more restrictive measures. But what we're doing here at the state, because we don't have direct flights to China, don't have those people coming in that would spread the virus here, we don't have the kind of spread of virus in our community. The steps we're taking are appropriate for our state and do not involve having a stay-at-home order.
What are the thresholds for a stay-at-home order throughout the entire state?
Again, that's not part of our plan. We don't have any plan to do that because we don't need to. Because we are taking these steps around the 10-person rule and limiting the public gatherings, that we will not need to do a stay-at-home order because we're doing all these things early and really slowing the spread of the virus. And again, when I'm talking about, like, just 9 new cases from yesterday morning to this morning, it shows that so far, again, we've slowed that spread of the virus. Now, this is going to be this is not something that's going to be done overnight. We are going to have to keep a sustained measure of this at some level as we go forward. But right now, we are staying ahead of it to be able to slow the spread of the virus, and especially in the areas where we have it more widely spread in the community, like places like Omaha and Lincoln.